Welcome back to the session on evolution, and we have been discussing on the evidences of organic evolution. Uh, and this is the second or third part under the morphological and anatomical evidences of organic evolution, that is the analogous organs. So, what are analogous organs? The analogous organs are those which are superficially or morphologically similar in appearance uh, and perform the same function but different in their basic structure and embryonic origin. So, as against homologous organs, the analogous organs perform same function, right? And externally, they are almost quite similar. But when we look into the origin, the embryonic origin, as well as the basic structural pattern, these analogous organs are different. So, these analogous organs are the organs found in different species which are quite similar in appearance, performing similar function but having a different structural pattern and embryonic origin. Okay, so any anatomical and morphological similarity between them, it is never caused by a common ancestry, but it is because of their adaptation to perform the same function. It may be because these species may be occupying the same kind of a habitat, and to suit their adaptation for a life in the particular habitat, these two different species may have developed a similar kind of a structure externally. There are quite a good number of examples. One is wings of insects and birds, another is leg of insects and mammals, then fins of fishes, as well as the flippers of aquatic mammals, and eyes of octopus and vertebrates. So we'll look here. We can see the different examples. The first one given, the leg of an insect and leg of horse. Okay. Both perform similar tasks, that is, it is meant for walking, it is meant for locomotion, but they have different structural pattern. As we have already seen in the case of a vertebrate leg, it is like pentadactyl structural pattern, having a femur, tibia, fibula, and the tarsal, metatarsal, like all those pentadactyl limb structure. But in the case of an insect leg, even though it performs the locomotion, the same function and externally visible, it is almost quite similar. But structurally, if we see, this is actually formed of um, Byramus pattern, isn't it? The structure is of Byramus pattern and having segmented appendages. These ones are completely segmented. Okay, and it is not supported by any skeletal parts inside. Even though the name is like a femur and tarsal, etc., but it has no similarity with respect to its origin. Okay. So then the second one we have is a fin of a fish and flippers of a like a mammal, aquatic mammal. Superficially, they show uh, close resemblance. For each has the form of a short, broad paddle. You can see here it is somewhat like a paddle or an oar. This is due to their same mode of life, that is a swimming adaptation, and anatomically, but they are different. The fins are very simple skeleton, while the flipper of a whale, or you can see here the dolphin, it is a modified pentadactyl limb. So here it is simply having a simple skeleton, the fins which are supported by the fin rays or such kind of structures, while the dolphin flipper, it is having a very reduced but a pentadactyl limb structural pattern. Okay. Now the next one we have is the wing of an insect and wing of a bird. Both are used for flight, but they are constructed quite differently. Their structural pattern is different and they operate on different principles. Wing of a bird is a modified pentadactyl limb here again, supported by skeletal elements covered by feathers, while insect's wings is simply a membranous structure supported by chitinous veins. So here this is just a membranous stretch which is supported by the veins. The veins are marked here in lines, in these darker lines. Okay. And these are chitinous veins, and they show analogous resemblances because they are adapted to perform the same function here, that is a flight. So these are the different analogous organs, very typical ones. But here you can see that these structures bear no fundamental resemblances to each other, but um, needn't be always the same. Okay. For instance, in the case of eyes of octopus and eyes of a vertebrate, they are remarkably similar, even in minute details, that we may get confused, like thinking that they are two homologous structures, eyes of an octopus and eyes of vertebrate. Okay, so strikingly similar they are that we may not be able to distinguish the differences. But they are analogous because of the fact that the retina of vertebrate, it is inverted, or it forms an inverted image, while the retina of the octopus eye, it is non-inverted. And this is why vertebrate eye has a blind spot from where the optic nerve emerges, while this is absent in the case of an octopus eye. Okay, so this tells us that, this particular example tells us that they are the product of two distinct lines of evolution, resembling each other merely as a result of convergent evolution. So that is the next concept we have as the convergent evolution. Why it is convergent? Because the two different species have developed similar looking structures for adapting themselves to a particular function, to perform a particular function. Okay, but embryonic origin, the structural pattern, etc., they are completely different. So such kind of an evolution that has resulted in resemblances of structures in two different species, uh, it is actually the convergent evolution, where we can conclude that these two organisms doesn't have any kind of a common ancestral stock. Okay, now convergent evolution, it is the development of similar adaptive features independently by distantly related animals. Here you can see these are distantly these are not having a same common ancestor. This is an invertebrate and this is a vertebrate, isn't it? But still they have developed similar looking structures, and this kind of an evolution is known as a convergent evolution. And this convergent evolution, the like two species which have evolved through convergent evolution doesn't have any common ancestor. Okay, convergence often occurs due to the similarity in function, due to similarity in the mode of life, such as the evolution of the flight by insects and the birds. Okay, even in certain mammals like bats. So all these have wings performing similar functions because of their mode of life, but they all developed wings independently in response to adaptation for having an aerial life or a life in the air. Similarly, aquatic vertebrates such as fishes, ichthyosaurs, dolphins, though unrelated, have evolved a streamlined body independently as a result of convergent evolution. So, convergence among closely related forms is sometimes known as parallel evolution. Okay, so this is the parallel evolution. Parallelism is the development of similar type of adaptations among closely related animals by similar way of life, because of the similar way of life, while convergence is the development of similar adaptations among distantly related forms. I hope it is clear. Okay, convergence and parallelism, it is quite a very closely lying concept. Convergence is where the animals like develop similar adaptations, but these animals develop similar adaptations among distantly related forms, while parallelism is where uh, similar type of adaptations are developed among closely related animals. Okay, that those two are different kinds of evolution. So convergent evolution is the evolution of similar adaptations in distantly related groups, for example a bird and an insect, right? Parallelism is the development of similar adaptations in two closely related like animals. Okay, for example uh, like yeah, maybe dolphins and this sorry, what do you call whales or something like that. Okay, similar species, closely related species, right? For example, horse and antelope, yeah, are two forms that are not closely related. They belong to different orders of mammals. Therefore, their evolution may be considered as a case of convergence. On the other hand, the evolution of two-toed animals, that is antelope and deer, would form an example of parallelism, just like the development of flipper-like forelimbs by seals and walruses. It is the evolution of marsupials in Australia. Here you can see the Australian marsupials. Um, it is actually parallel evolution, parallel the evolution. These groups of animals show parallelism with the placental mammals in other parts of the world. For example, the burrowing, that is a type of a habitat where which is where the moles and the marsupial moles are found. Okay, so they show similarity due to the kind of a habitat they live in, due to the kind of adaptation they have to develop for their burrowing habit. Okay, but one is a placental mammal, another is a marsupial. Okay, so their evolution proceeded independently but in parallel lines due to their adaptations to similar ways of life. So you can find for each kind of a habitat or each kind of a habit, the two different groups of organisms have developed similar kind of adaptations. Okay, so here you can see these two are anteaters, but one is again placental groups, another is a marsupial. Okay, like mouse type, marsupial mouse and the normal one. Then gliders, flying phalanger is a marsupial, while flying squirrel is a normal placental mammal. So for each kind of a habitat, these two different groups of organisms have developed similar kind of adaptations to suit their way of life. Okay, so the kind of a evolution is known as parallelism or parallel evolution. So I hope it is clear. Okay, this is also a feature under morphological and anatomical evidences of organic evolution. Fine.